as you heard there, I've just done the procedure, the surgery. I just said I can't believe that I've gone through with it. You know, the worst part was definitely the injections, the burning sensation that people say they feel. I feel is a little bit underestimated. It feels like a bunch of either fire ants or wasps are stinging you all at once. So if you are considering it, please be prepared for that.
Yep, that's me, just after my hair transplant surgery. And as I stop on this frame, it does appear that I have a little bit of shell shock. Shell shock referring to the injections that you get when they administer the anesthesia before surgery. Trust me though, it's actually not that bad, but you do have to be prepared for it. So, you may be wondering, why are you seeing this video on your feed? Maybe, why am I getting this done? Or even why I don't have a shaved head? Well, before we continue, it's important to learn about me and my condition. So here's me from the present to explain a little bit about myself and my decision to get this surgery. Why did I just sit down like I was in a serial killer documentary? I'm gonna do that again. So, where do I even really start? My name is David, I'm 25 years old, and I first started experiencing hair loss when I was 22. I actually started experiencing hair loss when I was away from Ireland. I had finished college and I went to Australia to go see some family. And over there, I had started to notice a slight pattern of hair loss after coming out of the shower. Now, sometimes, you know, you come out of the shower, it's a normal thing for some hair to be lost. But I started to notice this when kind of clumps of hair were falling out as I was either drying my hair or washing my hair. I started to look into this a bit more and I realized that it was quite common for my age. I never thought I'd lose my hair, especially in my early 20s. I always had a thick head of hair. So when I started experiencing this, I didn't know what to do, really. I told a few people, you know, the people that were closest to me, and it helped to kind of talk about it. That's one of the reasons why I'm sort of making this video. I hope that if you're watching this video and you're thinking about going through a hair transplant, you can kind of base your opinions off of me and what I kind of experience along my journey and what I talk about. I do feel like it is necessary to talk about these things with people, no matter how either awkward or embarrassed you might feel. There are a lot of people in our situation going through this at the moment. You know, there are people younger than me going through this, younger than what I was at 22. I learned this at the clinic. It is unfortunately a natural process to getting older, especially in men. The reason we lose our hair and the reason we go through either male pattern baldness and androgenic alopecia, what I have, is that our testosterone gets converted into DHT, and those androgen receptors on our follicles, not gonna lie, they love that. And yeah, our follicles just fall out because of it. With regards of why I went to Turkey, I think it is pretty self-explanatory. It is a lot cheaper to get this procedure done in Turkey. And I know I'm very fortunate to even be able to consider doing this procedure. You know, I've gone through it now already, and knowing what I know, I probably would have gone through it again, having experienced what it is like. The fact that I didn't choose to do it in Ireland, it would have been probably double, if not close to triple the price in Ireland. And a few of the clinics that I had messaged here just didn't leave me with the greatest confidence. The way they handle certain discussions or chats, so to speak, you know, you get put into a WhatsApp group and you kind of just get asked thrown away questions. One clinic just disregarded me completely. I messaged them, they asked for photos, and they just said, nope, you're not a candidate, thank you. And they tried to push me onto one of, I guess, another product that they sell, saying that it could help my condition. I did a bit of research into that, and I felt like it was sort of just a scam. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel like it was the right decision for me to do so, and I think that they were just trying to get more money out of me before eventually recommending me for a hair transplant. The clinic I decided to go with in the end, they were very responsive. Their English was impeccable, you know, they were able to understand all of my questions, and they were very thorough, making sure what I needed to do before and also after the procedure. I didn't want it to get gradually worse and worse, to the point where I didn't want it to get gradually worse and worse to the point where I wouldn't have even been able to consider a transplant. You know, I know people who have been told that, you know, it just simply isn't enough hair to do a transplant and they've waited too long. I didn't want to be that person, and I hope if you are watching this video thinking about going through what I just went through, don't wait too long. You know, it might be an embarrassing topic for you, it might be awkward to tell people, but I think at the end of the day, if you want to keep your hair and you're someone who expresses yourself through their hair like I was and like I'm hoping to be now, again, just, you know, do it, consider it, do your research. If you want to do it where you live and it is available and it is a viable cost option for you, I would say definitely do that. You know, there's no point waiting on something that you know down the line you might regret if you didn't do it. I hope that I don't know if it's a bit weird to say you enjoy the video. I hope that you find the video a little informative anyway. I just wanted to record my own experience and my thoughts on the process itself. I will be shedding some insight into what they tell you to do and how to maintain your hair and your implants in your donor area after the procedure. And you'll just also get to experience some of my worries along the way. I've never done something like this before, and I think it is important when uploading a video like this to kind of share those thoughts and those feelings. And again, if you are considering this, I want to be as open and as honest as I possibly can be. You know, another one of the reasons why I decided to kind of record the whole process was, you know, like you or anyone else watching this video, I was watching videos on transplants, I was doing my research, I was getting to know the information and what I would have to do in the end to go through with it. And Cole Anderson's video actually popped up about how he was trying to get a transplant in Turkey. His video was more so entertaining, he was having a laugh, and I do appreciate the fact that he was very nervous, like everyone is. You know, I was very nervous as well during my procedure and even before it. And he really showed that, and it brought a certain sort of humility to the video as well. You know, you can kind of see through the eyes of the viewer that, you know, we're all just people at the end of the day. And this procedure is a difficult procedure. It's very invasive. Not as invasive as some other hair transplant procedures. I got a DHI method, and with this method they just kind of implant with a pen. So if you do watch this video, it's not as invasive as that. I was still on the kind of table for 10 hours on and off. And yeah, that video and the humor really helped me to kind of make my final mind up about it and record my own process. That's just kind of a little bit about me and the initial thought process, and I hope you find the video insightful. And at the end of the video, I'll also go through how much this procedure actually costs, and, you know, my hairline, how that's healed, my implanted region, and also my donor regions, how those have healed since it's been exactly a month since the procedure. But we'll get into the video and I'll catch back up with you soon. So just one slight problem. They didn't actually let me record the hair transplant procedure. Gosh! I'm just including a little clip here of the lines that they drew and what I was hoping to achieve from the process. So this was just a quick clip recorded by my brilliant camerawoman, showing the hairline where it was drawn and the main focus points. As you can see, it's on the edges of the hairline and a little bit on the front, with the main focus points on here and here. Now, moving towards the back of the head, the crown, we can clearly see evident hair loss and thinning of the hair. So I really wanted them to focus on that too, and on this section specifically, you know, just to kind of make it full coverage. Also, if you've made it this far, first of all, thank you. And if you're finding the video insightful and somewhat entertaining, please consider giving the video a like. It's really good to push this sort of video because we need to talk about these kind of things, and for some of us males, our emotions are deep down. So if you do know anyone that is thinking about this or has gone through this process before and you think that they would find this video enjoyable, yeah, just please give it a like and send it to them.
So yeah, so here's the stuff here. I'm not going to do this for too long. I was told not to focus on looking down too much. But yeah, this is the neck pillow that they give you. It's nice. It's very firm actually. This is the foam and shampoo packet that they gave me. I'm not sure how to use them, but they'll take me through that tomorrow. But yeah, foam and shampoo that you have to use for the first 10 days. This then is the anti-dandruff shampoo that they give you, which you'll use after the 10 days, which might be a little bit hard to come by in Ireland. I'm not sure. It has salicylic acid that is sometimes hard to get in products in Ireland. Then after that, we have the medications package that they gave. So they have your antibiotics, they have your blood thinners, your... Wait, what else?
The prednisone, which is an anti-inflammatory to reduce the swelling, and then the emergency antibiotic if needed.
This is the medications package that they gave. So they have the antibiotics, they have the painkillers, they have a blood thinner, something to reduce the swelling, and then also a cream conveniently labelled in case of emergency. Kelsey told me that she overheard someone saying in case of the emergency is if you accidentally hit your head, you can send them a picture and they'll tell you if you need to use it or not.
Good morning. It is, I think, about 7:30. I just checked. There it is. I have to stick these back on. They told me to, if they fall apart, stick them back on. I managed to sleep a little bit, I think. Last thing I remember is just kind of periodically waking up from 12 to about 5 a.m. Then it hit 6 and I remember waking up at 7. So I think I slept at least a full hour through. I don't know how. Everything still looks fine. Still looks like the way I left it. I actually didn't end up sleeping on the bed over there. I took all my pillows, my duvet, and I ended up sleeping on this like kind of chair system. Don't mind that. That may be some dessert I had yesterday. Kelsey got that for me, and she got me like a little spray bottle because we couldn't actually get the aircon to work. It was actually on heat, and that is not very good. But yeah, I just had a little spray bottle to cool me down. But yeah, that's the setup right here. So I have a little kind of like leg chair over there for my legs. There's a gap in between here, and then, you know, obviously my phone, and then this is me right here on the chair. And what happened was I kind of like slid myself down, and that's kind of how you sleep. I know it looks a little bit awkward. It is awkward. I had to take a painkiller actually this morning, just because this region here, every time I move my eyebrows up here, starts to get hurt, and I can kind of feel like a slight tiny bit of throbbing sensation now, but it's not too bad. I was saying if this is it, I can fully bear it, but I have a feeling it might get a little bit worse, so I have to keep on top of those painkillers, and especially for the flight back home, make sure I take one before the flight. I think that'll definitely help. But yeah, so now we're going to go down to breakfast, have that, and then kind of make our way back up to the room, collect everything, get everything sorted, and then we're getting another shuttle from here to the clinic where they're going to take me through washing the hair, and hopefully I can record that for you there. So, as you can see, I am under red light therapy now. They recommend to do this for 5 minutes after the washing and drying procedure. I've just had the foaming, the washing and the drying done. It was fine. They explained there'd be a little bit of burning after this happened, and yeah, there was a little bit of burning, but nothing as bad as the injections from the operation. It was actually quite therapeutic in a sense. It was nice to get the foam on, quite a cooling reaction, and now we're under the red light therapy. It just stimulates blood flow to the area, and they said about 5 minutes, and yeah, we should be all good to go after that then. But I know I look a bit scary. I can't even see you. These are blackout glasses.
You look like a super villain.
So it is day 3 after the procedure. I didn't get to record yesterday on day 2, but everything is looking okay. Nothing is looking too inflamed. I have a little bit of swelling going on in the forehead, but that, it's normal. Some people don't get swelling at all with the DHI method, but I felt with my skin sometimes it can be a little sensitive. I kind of suspected a little bit of swelling to come up eventually, but it is nothing like what I probably would have gotten with FUE. FUE is a more invasive method, so that sometimes you see people with the really big swellings on their foreheads and you're like, oh, I wonder how that happened. And it's basically the more you look down once you've gotten FUE, the more swelling gets into your forehead. So I'm pretty glad that I went with DHI on this. But yeah, we did the washing procedure yesterday. Consisted of a foam which lasts for 30 minutes on your implanted area. Then you rinse that foam off, and after that you apply the shampoo they gave you, and you apply the shampoo both to the transplanted and the donor area. I'm going to record that for you guys now, and yeah, hopefully I'm able to do it on my own. I'm a little bit nervous just because it's the first time doing it on my own. But yeah, I think we should be able to get that sorted and recorded, so I'll catch you in the next bit. So I've managed to figure out how I'm going to set this all up, so I think I'm going to look into the mirror myself and probably pan from time to time back to the camera just to show you guys what I'm doing. If you want, as well, you can use a glove. I have some blue gloves just from the lab, but it is very important to keep a hygienic environment, especially when you're dealing with something like this, something that can get infected really easily. So that's why I'm going with a glove on this. I'm just using one glove for the hand that I'll be applying the foam with, and then leaving it for 30 minutes. So I think that I'm going to put the big light on, so I'm not really going to talk over this, but yeah, I'll put it on and just show you guys what I'm doing. So like I said, this was my first day doing this by myself. You can see that I was a bit tentative at first here. I was just mainly focusing on trying not to irritate the area and feel it for myself really how much pressure I could put on. I tried to stick to the dabbing method they told me, as you can see here, and just kind of keep an eye on where the foam was going, make sure the foam was actually really hitting that area. And yeah, here's just me being super aware that the camera is actually there. Then getting towards the end of the foaming stage, I was getting a little bit more confident with the amount of pressure I was putting in. You can see here that a lot of the foam is already applied and it is actually soaking into that implanted region, what it's supposed to do, and targeting those scabs. And I was just kind of going over it again quickly, making sure that the foam is everywhere that it was meant to be. And yeah, that was basically the first day of foaming by myself. So that's that now. I've foamed the area. Hopefully you were able to see a little bit of what I was doing. I tried to pan to the camera as most as I could, but as I said, this is my first time doing it by myself. So I have a timer set for 30 minutes now. What the foam does is it basically helps to clear out the area of any sort of kind of blood that may have clotted inside the follicle. The foam really helps to get in there to absorb it and then clean that out as well. It'll also kind of expulge any antibiotic that is still left or any anesthetic that is still left. So what I got on my second day yesterday was I got a lot of yellow liquid running down my forehead, and it's nothing to worry about really. It's just kind of the foam doing its job, cleaning out any blood that may still be in the area, and then all of the anesthesia that they put in as well for the operation. But yeah, one thing as well, people may give out to me for keeping my hair on top. They gave me a choice when I went into the procedure. You know, DHI is a method where it's direct follicle implantation, so you are allowed to keep your hair. I'm doing this because essentially I don't want to be bald. That's why I'm getting a hair transplant. So if I have the option to keep my hair and I can maintain my hair as well as maintaining my new follicles that I got implanted, I'm going to do it. You know, I don't really see any disadvantage to keeping the hair. And one of the big things as well is, you know, these hairs will fall out after a month, the implanted hairs. That's just what happens normally. Then they start their regrowth phase, and it'll be about 3 to 4 months until they fully take, which I'm hoping that they do. So, you know, until then, and when they fall out, I'm still going to want my hair. And my hair probably wouldn't have been at the stage that I would have liked it if I shaved it off to start off with. So that's just kind of clearing that up. You know, if anyone has any problems with me keeping my hair, that's your problem, really. It's not really mine. I made my decision, and I think I'm maintaining it well so far. So yeah, hopefully this 30 minutes goes by quick, and I can continue the rinsing process for the foam.